Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Mamoona Akhtar from School of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Jamia Hamdard. Here we are going to discuss about the module Arc Spark Optical Emission Spectrometry from paper Atomic Spectroscopy. In this module, you will learn about the Arc Spark Optical Emission Spectroscopy, its brief history, the working of the instrument, different method of excitation of the sample, because the method of excitation of sample in case of arc spark is different from simple atomic absorption spectroscopy, the arc spark excitation source, DC arc excitation source, AC arc excitation source, the stand that is used for spark stand, and arc spark source shall be covered. This module also discuss about the optical and detection system in addition to the application of the technique. So coming to introduction, we already know atomic absorption spectroscopy, which involves analysis of the elements by use of heat or in the form of flame. In case of optical emission spectrometry, almost similar methods are used, but there is a basic difference of using stand and generating spark as excitation source. This optical emission spectrometry is considered as one of the old optical analytical technique, wherein flame was used as light source for emission in the beginning. In 1950 and early 1960s, arc spark optical emission spectroscopy prevailed due to its better excitation capabilities. Of the arc spark optical emission spectrometer in service today, 99% are used for the routine spectrochemical analysis of metals, of which 80% of them consist of alloy of iron, aluminum, or copper. The remaining applications concern alloys of nickel, cobalt, zinc, titanium, magnesium, lead, tin, or solder group, and 1% consists of refractories, precious metals, steel making slags, and geological materials. So let's have a look on brief history of this technique. In the spectroscopy history, arc spark excitation was the leading technique for elemental analysis for a long time. In 1752, Thomas Melville observed bright yellow light emitted from a flame produced by burning a mixture of alcohol and sea salt. In 1776, Alessandro Volta reported for the first time use of spark for chemical analysis. He was able to identify certain gases by the color emitted when they applied a spark to them. In late 18th and early 19th century, Fraunhofer and others compared the spectra emitted by flames and sparks with that from the sun and planet. In 1826, W. H. Talbot reported a series of experiments in which he observed the coloring of flame by a variety of salts. Nature of emission spectra was beginning to be understood in 1859 when Kirchhoff and Bunsen observed that the sharp line spectra from flames were produced by atoms and not molecules. In the beginning of the 20th century, the sharp lines that appeared in light emitted from electrical arc and spark were a driving force for science. During the middle of the 20th century, quantitative arc and spark spectroscopy was the best tool that analysts had to probe trace concentration for a wide range of elements. And in 1960s and 70s, arc spark optical emission spectrometry declined in popularity. This technique is frequently used in metallurgy industry, geological and monitoring of environmental, and numerous advances in terms of evaluation of instrumental performance, reproducibility, limits of detection, and linear dynamic range have been done and reported. The advances related to optimization of experimental conditions, interferences by molecular spectra bands, or by coexisting elements or background have also been done. Improved sensitivity, even for some hard to excite elements such as hydrogen fluoride and tungsten. A low cost and compact arc optical emission spectrometer has been achieved by using a handheld spectrometer with a charge coupled device as a detector. Now, coming to the principle of the optical emission spectrometry. The optical emission spectrometry is based on application of electrical energy in the form of spark generated by interaction of an electrode and a metal sample, whereby the vaporized atoms are brought to a high energy state within a so-called discharge plasma. These excited atoms and ions in the discharge plasma create a unique emission spectrum specific to each element. The radiations emitted by element directly fed to the spectrometer, which is arc spark optical emission spectrometry, optics, or via an optical filter, where it is dispersed into its spectral components. Therefore, the light generated by the discharge can be said to be a collection of the spectral lines generated by the element in the sample. This light is split by a diffraction grating to extract the emission spectrum for the target elements. The detectors like CCD or PMT, the most suitable line for the application, are then used to measure the range of wavelengths emitted by each element. The concentration of the element in the sample is directly proportional to the radiation intensity, which is calculated internally from a stored set of calibration curves and can be shown directly as percent concentration. This figure shows you a working principle of portable and mobile metal analyzer, where you can see there is an excitation source at number 1, a sample probe, an entrance slit, which allows the entrance of the generated from the sample, then a grating, which actually selects the wavelength, which are then fed to the CCD detector, and from CCD detector, the data goes into the data processing machine and for evaluation. Now coming to instrumentation, arc spark excitation was the leading technique for elemental analysis for a long period in the spectroscopic history. Currently, other techniques like ICP, optical emission spectroscopy, ICP mass spectrometer, MIP-OES are getting more attention because of their most perfect analytical performance. However, ArcSpark OES still retains the super solid sampling capability in comparison with other techniques. Now, the excitation source that's used in ArcSpark OES. In late 19th century, electrical discharge excitation source was developed. Later on, direct current, alternating current, and high voltage excitation sources were also used in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Excitation in arc spark spectrophotometer is produced by the energy of the electrical discharge between the sample and the electrode. In all early instruments, electrical discharge was carried out in air, but today it is carried out in an argon atmosphere. This type of spectrometer, using electrical excitation, the sample must be electrically conductive. Therefore, this instrumentation is very popular in the metal industry. DC arc excitation source. DC arc excitation sources were used in connection with a multi-channel spectrometer. As analyte elements, various kinds of selenium carbon powders were used as a model for all evaluation steps. 3 different calibration procedures were investigated, and it was concluded that calibration with different weights of a single reference material should be preferred. This method emerged as a rapid alternative method to the existing solid sampling SSOES and SS atomic absorption spectrometry due to its precision and calibration. There are a number of advantages to DC arc excitation source. First, it is very simple in handling. It requires no or minimum sample preparation. It also has no or minimum use of special atmosphere to achieve. There is complete evaporation of the analyte, a low contamination by the method itself, and overall it is rapid and cost-effective qualitative method for semi-quantitative overall analysis of unknown materials. AC arc excitation source. In addition to DC arc, AC arc has also been explored as an excitation source. AC arc was used as excitation source and reported in 2000 by Goldick. The arc was made from two electrodes with 1 centimeter gap between them. The applied open circuit voltage of 13 kilovolt and the closed circuit current was 13 milliamperes with source temperature of 3500 degree Kelvin using iron spectral lines. This system has advantage of its low acquisition and operation cost. Its atmospheric operation without additional gas is another advantage of this novel emission source. The spark stand and arc spark source. In arc spark optical emission spectrometry, we know that the stand is used to place the sample wherein the electric discharge is passed through it and light produced from the sample is collected. Other devices were also invented. There were some devices invented by Yamamoto and Takimoto composed of a sample holder having a via hole, a spark electrode and an inert gas inlet tube which is suited for use in the measurement of oxygen in a metal sample, wherein the size, that is the diameter of the metal sample, was appropriately selected so that the electric spark was generated from the whole discharge area to eliminate the influence of element segregation in the sample. The analytical precision was improved by using an optimized threshold value obtained by measuring the relationship between the maximum analytical precision and spectral intensity of matrix element. The elemental detection was performed by measuring the spectral ratio of the analyte element to the matrix element within the threshold range. A typical spark stand, that's electrode and sample geometry, diagram is shown in figure 1. It illustrates the conventional point-to-plane configuration, and the electrode typically is made of tungsten. Although graphite electrodes have also been used in the past with non-ferrous materials. So you can see a stand, sample stand, and a light optics in presence of argon atmosphere. The electrode provides the spark and lightens the sample. In modern instruments, the spark stand is flushed with argon to prevent oxidation effect and allows transmission of UV wavelength absorbed by oxygen. A very basic electrical circuit diagram used to provide the discharge is shown in figure 3. The voltage in the circuit is generally between about 400 and 1000 volt, which is not enough to cross the 3-4 mm spark gap. A much higher voltage on the order of 10,000 volt is required, which is provided by an igniter circuit. In modern spark excitation source, the discharge is unidirectional from the electrode to the sample. The switch S in the above diagram is opened and closed electronically many times per second. This is referred as to the frequency of the discharge. In spark gap, temperature is 5000 to 15,000 Kelvin and is generated in the system. It is in the region where analytical process is important for spectrochemical analysis. Spark-like and arc-like excitation. Spark-like excitation refers to high current discharge that comes in like gunshots. Some typical electrical parameters for a spark-like discharge are that frequency should be between 200 to 1000 Hz, operating voltage should be between 400 to 1000 volts, peak current 50 to 150 amperes, and FWHM, that is half width at half height, is 50 to 100 microsecond. The arc-like excitation refers to a lower current drawn out almost continuous discharge. Arc-like discharge can be either direct current or alternating current with a frequency like the spark-like discharges. The DC arc is low current discharge on the order of perhaps 3 to 10 amperes. The AC arc can provide currents as high as 20 to 30 amperes with a frequency of 100 to 200 Hz and a total duration for each cycle of 500 to 1000 microseconds. Analytically, the difference between the arc and spark excitation can be summarized in Table 1, where you can see the precision and LOD, that's limit of detection. Arc discharge, the precision is 1 to 5 and limit of detection is 1 to 10 parts per million. In case of spark discharge, it's 0.3 to 1 and limit of detection increases to 10 to 100 parts per million. The precision number listed are at concentrations well above the limit of detection. The primary function of the excitation source is to generate spark or arc-like electrical discharge. These will vaporize sample materials and produce excitation of the electrons of the atom for the measurement of spectral light intensities. High energy pre-spark. The excitation source used in arc-spark optical emission spectroscopy has another very important function, and that is to homogenize the sample surface in preparation for the actual measurement of the light intensities. The homogenization of the sample is achieved by first subjecting the sample surface to a HEPS, and the action of HEPS is comparable to that of a remelt furnace. That is, on subjecting the sample surface to the electric discharge, the sample is effectively remelted. This technique is important in removing any effects of the metallurgic history or structure of the sample, for example, cast versus wrought, heat treatment, and so forth. Typical pre-spark currents can be from about 120 to 150 amperes with duration from about 10 to 20 seconds. Depending upon the electrical parameters used, the crater produced in the sample surface during the high energy pre-spark is about 10 mm in diameter, with maximum depth, that is penetration at the center, on the order of 50 micrometers. Excitation source cycle. The sample is ready after the pre-spark period for the actual measurement or integration of the light intensity signals. This technique is used primarily when very small amount of elements is present in sample and which is important to detect. The excitation is carried out by spark-like discharge for about 5-second time period. The complete source cycle during the sparking of a sample is as, that means homogenization by using HEPS for about 10 seconds, spark measurement for about 5 seconds, and arc measurement for about 5 seconds. The most important part of the protocol is excitation of the sample. If the excitation is not done properly, the results will vary. The sample is excited on a sample stand by using an electronic device that provides high voltage spark. The source is called high rep 2 positive. A low voltage arc between the surface of the sample under test and a counter electrode is used to analyze the sample. A classical source of the RLC discharge type and its frequency can rise up to 400 Hz. A spark is generated by applying high voltage to the sample, and the emitted light is used to determine the concentration of the element within the sample. The purpose of sample slide helps in placing the sample in a reproducible way relative to the optical device in the spectrometer. The argon is flowed in the enclosure of the sample stand at a rate of 0.2 to 0.5 liter per minute, which increases automatically during sparking. A water circuit is used to cool the table. This process involves production of two sparks. One is of high voltage while other is of low voltage. The high energy spark prepares, that is, it melts and homogenizes the sample on the surface table, and then the light emitted from low energy spark is measured. This light, which is of low energy, is produced from the sample actually. The shutter is of the instrument unit, opens during the measuring phase by an electromagnetic valve. After generating the light from the sample, or you can say igniting the light, producing spark from the sample, it needs to be detected and accurately and precisely detected to obtain an element present in the sample. So therefore, different optical and detection systems have been used for the same. The optical dispersion system of the spectrometer is placed in a mechanical housing. To avoid any deformation in the spectrometer by dilatation, it is placed in a thermocontrolled insulated cabinet called oven. The temperature of this oven is 38 plus minus zero point 0.1 degree centigrade. Because when the spark is generated, lot of heat is also generated, which may affect the activity of the detector. The light path is approximately 2 meter long. As air will absorb ultraviolet light, it is necessary to put the spectrophotometer under vacuum to avoid this effect. The optical system is composed of 5 main parts. One, that is primary slit. This is the opening through which the light that is produced from the sample gets into the grating, which is of 20 micrometers. Then the grating which diffracts the light that comes through slit 1 on the secondary slit. Third, the secondary slit to narrow down the wavelength bands. That means the secondary slit actually helps in selecting the wavelength of interest. Then fourth is mirror that reflects the light focused to the photomultiplier tube, or you can say the detector. And fifth is the photomultiplier tube. The primary lens which is used is made of calcium fluoride. Photomultiplier tube is the most common type of detection system used in the atomic absorption spectrometers. And it is also photomultiplier tube which is commonly used in detector in spark arc optical emission spectrometry. This system has limitation of single channel and bulkiness. With the fast development in detectors, other detectors like semiconductor, solid state detectors, including the charge coupled device, which is commonly known as CCD, photodiode array detectors, and charge injection device are used in arc spark optical emission spectroscopy. We have presented or discussed these detectors in detail in instrumentation of atomic absorption spectrometry. The solid-state detectors have an advantage of multi-channel detection for simultaneous multi-element measurements, whereas CCD detectors made possible to detect elements simultaneously in polymer materials within 5 seconds. The use of miniaturized CCD spectrometer led to possible portable arc optical emission spectrometer, but quick quantitative analysis of 1.8 zinc to 9.3 magnesium milligrams per gram direct solid sampling was made possible by LODs. Coates and co-workers proposed an on-site analyzer for analyzing lubricant oils and functional fluids. The OES analyzed light captured from a spark emission stand through which the fluid sample flowed. Diagnostic text for an operator is generated by an expert which operates system according to set of rules based on the information collected from the OES and other measurement devices above the fluid sample. The size, weight, and cost of the instrument has reduced and made it suitable for on-site analysis. CID, a solid-state detector similar to CCD, has also been used in optical analytical instrumentation. It has same main advantages as CCD. The entire spectral range has been recorded with the use of a DC arc spectrometer using Echelon grating and a CID camera as a detector. Simultaneous precision in measurements can be achieved in any particular emission line. The technique has been applied for the determination of molybdenum in tungsten compounds. This table presents a list of elements and limit of detection of the instrument and technique used to detect them. The extreme left column shows the elements like aluminum, barium, cadmium, copper, magnesium, manganese, nickel, phosphorus, zinc, and their limit of detection of the instrument that has been used for detecting them. You can see in case of aluminum, sliding spark source has been used with a CCD detector, and the LOD is approximately 1 microgram per milligram. In case of copper, WET sparking system, sampling system, DC arc, and WPG 100 has been used with a LOD of 0.41 milligram per liter. By using CCD or DC arc direct solid sampling, the magnesium could be detected up to 9.3 microgram per gram. Similarly, lead can be detected by unipolar arc AC arc with MFS 8 detection system up to 20 nanograms per liter. Using sliding spark source and CCD detector, zinc could be detected up to 1 microgram per milligram, and if the direct solid sampling is used, it can be detected up to 1.4 microgram per gram. Coming to application of the arc spark optical emission spectroscopy, one of the advantage is first that it is capable of solid sampling and therefore can be applied to solid samples. It is widely applied for analysis of broad range of samples. It is applied for the analysis of steel, metal, alloys, geological samples. That means you have the earth samples, any kind of rock material, biological samples, biological fluid, tissue, environmental samples. It can be soil, water, or air, and other kind of samples and special techniques. In its application in steel, the steel sampling is used to analyze the inclusion of micro impurities and the macro components. It means simply the steel is an alloy and it is used to the analysis of the steel prepared. It is used to analyze the standard reference material and real steel samples. It also is used in the analysis of non-metal elements like nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, oxygen, selenium, or boron in steel samples. It has been used in quantitative or qualitative analysis of nitrogen in steel. Other metals and alloys have also been used or also been detected by this technique. In metals and alloys, the technique is used for the analysis of impurity of elements in metals or alloys. For samples of primary and commercial purity of aluminum, for analysis of molybdenum powder in chromium, iron, and nickel, analysis of oxygen in copper, for detection of various gases in titanium, and for detection of other impurities like iron, selenium, copper in pure magnesium in addition to aluminum and nickel. Geological and related samples. This technique is used for the simultaneous determination of gold, platinum, palladium, rhenium, iridium or ruthenium in geological samples and for the analysis of rock, ores and minerals. The technique has also been used for biological samples, like direct analysis of micro volumes of biological samples like liver, heart, brain, kidney, bone, serum and muscles of white albino rats has been reported by this method. Environmental and waste samples have also been analyzed for chromium in air, in micro amounts, and in other waste samples. Now let's summarize what we have learned in this module. In this module, we learned about the basic technique of arc spark optical emission spectroscopy and its brief history, the working of the instrument, different parts of the instrument, different method of excitation of sample, arc spark excitation source, DC and AC as arc excitation sources, the spark stand and the spark arc source. And we also learned about the application of the technique in various fields of the science. Like we also discussed the optical and detection system in addition to its application. Thank you.